And good morning, everyone. Network Empire, Technical Foundation, Level 1, building, executing your SEO silo website structure, and creating your painkiller articles and preparing to launch. I'm really, really excited about what Matt just told me, so I'm kind of recovering from that. If it seems like I'm sort of stumbling around, as you guys know, we are in the middle of completing a major software that allows you to swallow your market whole with one single report. So that's the same technology you guys are getting, and that Matt is drilling into your keywords right now. Those of you who've given those keywords up, I hope all of you are well. Let's just make sure that you can hear me. Can you please give me a 1 if you can hear Matt laughing in the background, and if you can hear myself? Hello, Larry, Marvin, Shane, Rod. Rod, I think I followed up on yeah, I was just talking about painkiller positioning on that. Mike Clay, it's good to see you. I just got off the phone with you. Mike Clay has graced us with his presence. Just messing with you. No, for real. Let's see who else we have coming in. Oh, the room is definitely filling up. Okay. So Matt, what are we going over this week? This is week 4. Yeah. So what's your focus this week?
This week we're moving out of the world that you exist in into my world, where we're in the factory, we're rolling our sleeves up, we're putting our blue suits on, and we're gonna start building shit.
Are you saying welcome to my world? Is that what I heard you just say? Welcome to my world. You're in my world now. Okay. So when you say your world,
we're going to the factory now. We're gonna start building stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you guys, because Matt and gals, Matt says my world. I would say that the reason he's saying that is because it's actually true. If you've listened to the interview on the homepage of the Tech Foundation 1 training, I hope you guys know that he has a background in major production line thinking and large scale. So when he got into development, of course, those skills came in really, really hot and heavy because, after running big manufacturing production lines and then running IT systems with big systems and processes, it's really helpful when it comes to thinking, process thinking in regards to drilling into your words, placing them in the right place, thinking about the whole the whole scale and situation, what we call scalable or stackable conversion systems. So that's really what he's talking about. Welcome to his world, and that's really true. And so this is going to be a pretty good week. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to step out of the way because this is really Matt's area of expertise. Now, one thing I would say, he's so good at what he does, sometimes he really gets going. So if you miss something or you want him to slow down, you want him to reiterate, just go ahead and type it in the text box, and I will be here to holler at him and tell him to slow down or clarify something, and just let me know. All right, you guys, go for it, Matt.
Okay, cool. Guys, can you give me a 1 if you can hear me? I just want to do an audio check quickly before we start.
Looks like we are green for go.
Okay, all seems good. All right. Yeah, basically what we're going to do this week, guys, is I've gotten a bunch of your guys' keywords this week. I've started drilling through them. We're busy preparing all the data for you. And once this data is prepared, just to give you a bit of foresight of what's coming, this is when we sit down and we actually have a call. We sit in the call, we look at your keywords, we look at the opportunities in the market, and then we start deciding, okay, what are we going to build? Okay, this is where we start building stuff. Now, in week 1, we define our product. In week 2, we spoke about how to find the pains in the market, how to create the ISDNA, the industry solution. We also looked at how we can actually think about what are the words that define what we want to sell. Okay, because remember we're dealing with language, right? So once we got the language under the belt, now we're getting to a point where we're getting ready to start building our website. So what you can expect to happen over the next week is you're going to get the keywords back from Kraken. We're going to then take those keywords and we're going to start looking at how those words have meaning to your business. What are the words that create conversions? What are the words that create transactions? And what is the language that actually your market uses to buy your product? Okay, so in last week when we looked at everything, we looked at the top of the vertical market. Guys, can you give me a 1 if you understand what a vertical market is? I want to run really slow through this because this is very, 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 very important. Okay, now that you understand what the vertical market is, and we can, in our minds, we can start seeing a triangle. with the keywords that we can get back from Kraken, we can start looking at the triangle. We're going to think to ourselves, okay, this keyword belongs as an educational keyword. This is a keyword that can create interest in what we want to buy. And then the third part down is these are the words that create sales. We're going to start breaking all this information we get back from Kraken. We're going to start chunking it down into positions where we can look at, okay, these type of keywords belong in information. These type of keywords belong in education, where it tells more about our product. And then the bottom keywords are, this is what creates the transactions. Once we get those three bands right in our minds and we can actually start seeing them, what happens is it makes it simpler to build your website. Okay, so can you understand why we've gone through week 1, week 2, and now we're at week 3, where we're starting to come to a point where we're getting ready to start production? Can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Or 2 if you're not?
You're all a bunch of smarty pants.
Okay, we got a lot of 1s coming in. Excellent. Right, so now that we've got now we know that what we want to sell, we understand what our product is, we understand the pains of our market, we understand who our market personalities are and how they consume information, i.e. the look and feel of the website, the type of information that's presented to them. Now we can start thinking about, okay, we're going to build our site. And what this does, this is a very key thing. What I've noticed over the years of working with a lot of companies is when people get to this point where they've not done week 1 and week 2, they often start spinning their wheels. They don't know what they want to build. They don't know what their product really is and who they're speaking to. And they get into this infinite loop. It jams them up. Hopefully by week 1 and 2, what we've taken you guys through, you're starting to get clear on what your market wants. And when you're clear on what your market wants, what that does, it reduces your IT debt. Okay, so instead of targeting 500 keywords or 100 keywords or even 50 keywords, now we're going to start targeting maybe a subset of 5 or 10 or 15 important themes, which is relevant to the market, relevant to the product we're selling, and highly relevant to the market personality that we're speaking to. Which means the site that we build becomes a lot smaller. It's not a huge authority site as people like to lead you on to believe. Okay, we really focused on what makes our market personality buy what they want. Can you guys give me a 1 if what I said there resonates and is clear? Because week 1, 2, and 3 is really important. When you get your keyword data back, this is where I really start talking to you guys. We jump in the one-to-one coaching now. This is where the one-to-one coaching really kicks in, because I've got what the heck are you selling from you. I can see what you're trying to do, and then I can look at the data and I can see, okay, here's the data. This is what we can do with this data. Here's the opportunity. Because all I'm doing is I'm always looking for the opportunity. 1, how can I drive traffic? 2, what's the easiest road to create a conversion? Number 3, what are the time frames to dominate this market? These are the 3 things I always think about when I look at the keyword data. I break them up into chunks. So short term, what can we take now? Medium term, what do we have to do to prepare the site to take those keywords? And long term, the silo keywords, what do we have to build, i.e. WR1, WR2, WR3? How big is this market and how much of an infrastructure must we design to really have an impact on this actual market? So this is what we're going to look at this week. And in this week, we're sort of going to overlap in weeks 3, 4, and 5. The work we're doing is going to overlap over these next 2 weeks. So we're going to have like week 3, 4, and 5. We're going to be sort of working on the same things, but we're going to be dealing with different things, if that makes sense. So just to give you a quick thing, if you can look at my screen, you can see this week we're going to build our project, the overview. Then what happens is we have to go and prepare the infrastructure for our network. And this is a mundane task that it's the same thing that you repeat over and over and over again. Okay, but one thing we need is we need a WordPress site, we need a theme, we need to use some form of SEO plugin to optimize our pages. We need to set up our Google Analytics. We need to set up our sitemaps. Once our site's built, we need to have the plugin to deal with that. We need to protect our infrastructure. So we use like Brute Protect, for example. We have to protect so people can't break in and hack and disrupt what we built. And then we have to, once we've got the infrastructure built, what we're going to do is we're going to actually clone that virgin site when it's configured, the plugins are all set up, everything's ready, but there's no content. We're going to clone that site and we're going to create our blog site. The reason why we do that is because we want to shave time. We want to shave off all the extra work. We don't want to repeat tasks. We want to duplicate tasks. Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Very important. Okay. Once you build your WR1 site for your market, you want to clone the blog. You don't want to rebuild the blog. Okay. If you put content in, you have to go back and pull the content out if you clone it. Okay. So once we cloned our site, then this is where we start creating the subdomains, we create our blog, and then we're ready. Our infrastructure is in place. So we'll have a blog, and we'll have our WR1 money site, our transaction engine. Now, for this course, I've defined the two things as two different things. The transaction engine is the WR1 broadcasting site. Okay, this is our product, it's our brand, it's the business, it's everything. It's who's the people we speak to, who owns the business, who's the staff, what are the products to sell, what can I buy now, how does it best serve me as a market personality to buy your product. The blog, which is on a subdomain, okay, this is the broadcasting engine. So we've got the transaction engine as WR1, and the WRS1, the blog, has the blog, but it also has the social profiles associated with it. Okay, can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that? We got two things happening here, what I'm speaking about, what we're going to build this week. One's our transaction engine, that's your money site. 2 is your blog, plus your social profiles. So that's Google+, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest if you're doing a visual type of thing like Sassy, and then you can use anything else that you want to use. Okay, so if you're doing business-to-business type of transactions, you can use LinkedIn. If you're not doing that, you can then use Facebook. Okay. Here's a question from Larry coming in. When I heard you and Sue talking about the blog mirroring the money site, I get that. However, is the blog going to be a separate website, or is it going to be the post section of the silo builder? Larry, I just want to clarify that. When you think about your WR1, the inner circle of the web ring, let me just, Russell, what's the domain again? It's Swallow Your Market Hole, right?
For which one?
The ring system.
The U dash everywhere. U dash everywhere?
U dash everywhere.
Yeah.
I get confused with all the domains.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, I admit.
U dash everywhere. There we go.
When Larry says, when I heard you and Sue talking about, okay, go ahead, Matt.
Guys, what I want to explain to you guys at this point in time is when you look at the web system, the WR1, WR2, WR3, okay, and when you think about a vertical market, on your WR3, we're out in the ether, we're in the darkness, we're out there, we're far away from what we're selling. That's essentially at the top of your vertical. If you think of the triangle, it's right at the top. Those are your single terms. Like whatever your product, for example, with Sassy, it'll be hair, it'll be makeup, it'll be beauty, it'll be hair extensions. It's the top vertical terms that describe the industry that we're working in. On the WR3s, we take that information and we use experts in the industry to create those sites. We jump down into WR2. This is where we start focusing in on specific markets or themes within the vertical we're working on. WR1 is where we're at in this course. This is the brand. This is the product. This is a corporate ID. Okay, this is the inner circle. This is where you transact with your customers. Okay, this is your business online. Now, to answer Larry's question, where we speak about cloning, when we've defined what our WR1 is, okay, what it is that we're selling, okay, what you're going to notice is you're going to have your verticals, which are your silos. So in Sassy's example, this is why we're using a live case study for you guys. We're dealing with hair, we're dealing with makeup, we're dealing with hair extensions, we're dealing with beauty. That's the fingernails and all the other stuff. We sort of, as the business has grown, we're expanding. Okay, so when we look at those topics, those are the topics that get mirrored across to the WR1 blog, the WRS1. Now, the blog is the broadcasting engine. It's only one entity that you work with, but it has multiple components connected to it via RSS or some of our plugins that we use. Can you give me one if you're clear on that? Now, when we speak about cloning, what we're speaking about is cloning the topics, the market level conversations that we want to engage in. Okay, so on Sassy, if we're speaking about hair, makeup, and weddings as three conversations we're entering into, on our blog, we're going to have hair, makeup, and weddings. Now, what we broadcast, okay, is relevant to what we're actually doing within the actual business on WR1. And what it does is it gives us the ability to actually broadcast content that is themed and relevant to the industry we're speaking to. So example, if we've done a wedding and let's just say the lady's name is Sue, she's gotten married, she had 4 or 5 bridesmaids, it was a beautiful day, a lot of photos taken. What you do is when you write a blog post, you say, hey, Sue, so much went into your wedding, beautiful day, you look absolutely stunning, we absolutely enjoyed doing your wedding for you, here's the pictures, guys, look at how beautiful Sue is. Boom, blog post, pictures up, press submit. That moves to Facebook, it moves to all our social profiles through the one feed to rule them all system, bang, it gets distributed across the web, and all the people that are connected to your business plus their friends can start seeing this information, which drives traffic back into our WR1, our transaction engine. This is what you want to achieve at all times. Okay, can you guys give me a one if you're clear on that? It's very important that you guys get this, because essentially your broadcasting blog is the epicenter of everything that you do. You're going to create your transaction engine, which is your corporate ID. It's the business. These are our products, these are our services, this is the price you're going to pay. The blog, this is what we're doing, this is what we're selling, this is how we can benefit you. These are things that are happening within the industry, these are cool things that we found out, these are cool techniques and these are cool tips. It's news, it's information. We're passing stuff back into the community that has value. Okay, it's our communication mechanism. Very, very important. So the WR1 transaction site will only update when you start adding new products, but the broadcasting engine, the blog, this is where you're going to constantly be pushing out information. Hey guys, saw this cool article about how to create whatever, a weave or whatever the ladies do. Okay, bang, you put this article together, you push it out, it runs through Facebook, runs through everyone. People come back, they follow the links from Facebook, they like your blog page.
What do those
say,
ladies
okay,
do?
Cool, my friend's getting married.
Yeah, what do those ladies do?
What do they like? They spend money.
Exactly. And one thing I got to tell you guys is, like, if you ever ask yourself, if you track the women's market, that's where 90% of all the money is going online. Just watch it funnel right over to the single Amazon sales page. Did you guys know that Amazon does 90% of all the online sales in the United States? I didn't. It blew my mind. And that it's 60% women. All right.
60%?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, think about it. I mean, guys are too busy at work. Like, something like an argument was between 50 and 60 or something like that. But anyway, kind of interesting tidbit. Go ahead, Matt.
Cool. So guys, this is what we're building, right? At the epicenter, we're creating ability to create transactions, but we're also creating the ability to communicate effectively with our audience. Okay. Now the other thing is, if you're in a technical industry, you can create a wiki in your WR1, and that explains your definitions. Okay. So with the WebRing system, when we look at it as it is on a WR1, there's a place for different types of websites to provide different types of information that benefits the market, but leads them always back to the transaction. Guys, can you give me a one if you're clear on that? It's important that you guys get this, because once you understand this principle, it's going to reduce the amount of work that you actually have to do. You're not going to be building 5,000 PBNs. You don't got to worry about all that kind of stuff. You're going to build what you need to get ranked for specific things that make you money. Okay, cool. Right, so on this week, what we're going to do here basically is we're going to set up the technical infrastructure for a W1 money site. That's the transaction engine, and we're going to set up our blog. Okay. As we get into week 4 and week 5, what we're going to do then is we're going to set up our social profiles for that actual site, and then we're going to start connecting everything together. We're going to start creating the gateways for all the RSS feeds to come in, and then we're going to actually publish and start pushing information or news throughout our network on a WR1. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? Can you give me one if you're clear on that? I just want to make sure that you guys get through this. Do you guys have any questions at this point in time with what I've explained? I don't want to run too fast ahead. Now would be a good time to actually ask the right questions. Okay, no questions. That's cool. Right. So once we set up our blog, once we set up our WR Money site, once we've got that in place, we're going to hop across to DWS, and the information you guys are going to get back from the drills, what we're going to do is we're going to moneyme.networkempire.com. You guys get access to this for 2 months as part of the course. Okay. I'm going to put the link in here and just fire it across to you all in the chat room. That comes part of it. The pro version doesn't. It's got more advanced things, and there's more advanced reports which you can use to actually sell and create money if you're going into the SEO side of things. But basically, I just want to take you guys into MiniMe, and I want to show you why this tool is so powerful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the SASE site as an example. So there's my project. I've just clicked on the actual header, and it's opened up. And when we look at MiniMe, what it does, it gives us a very linear process we're going through. So the first thing we do is we import our keywords, then we come in and design our silo architecture. We then decide what we're going to publish, and once we publish that, we're then going to export the blueprint. 2 seconds, guys. I just want to close my door as the family's just got in and they're making a bit of a racket. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, elevator music. Just kidding. Let's see if we have any questions in here. Oh,
sorry, I'm back.
You better? Okay. All right. Now, is Matt going too fast for you guys, or is he going just the right speed? Because he's so smart that sometimes he goes fast. Give me a 1 if he's going the right speed, 2 if you want him to slow down just a bit. Pretty good, they're saying, Matt. Okay. Just the right speed. Just the right speed.
Larry's got a question here. Do we need a new domain or do we need a subdomain? Okay, guys. What we recommend for this course is do the first round on a test domain. Buy yourself a brand new domain. You don't need an aged domain. You don't need to spend $1,000 on a domain that's got some fancy name. Just get a domain. Brand new, fresh out the box, nothing. Okay? Because that's going to give you the best results, because when you apply what we teach you and you start seeing the feedback coming back in analytics, you'll get the baselines that you need to see, which will help you with your learning. Okay. What you want to do is you always want to use subdomains when you're working with a brand new domain. You don't want to put everything in the root. A lot of people want to take the blog and stick it in the root as a /blog, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, if you get negative SEO'd, if it's in the root, everything sinks. You lose everything. So with our system, what we do is we modularize absolutely everything that we build. So if we build a transaction engine, it's going to be on www. www is a subdomain of the primary domain. Then if we call it news or blog or my thoughts or whatever you want to do it as a subdomain, we put our broadcasting blog on that. Typically, I just go with blog, so it'll be blog.domain.com for my blog. For my money site, I go www.domain.com. Can you guys give me a one if you clear on that? Because here's the thing is, if someone negative SEO is one of your subdomains, you can just change that and you can do a 301 redirect and bang, you come back in within 1 or 2 weeks, everything comes back into place. If you do everything in the root and the negative SEO that and you get penalized, that root's gone. It's like it's game over. There's nothing you can really do. You can't save it. So we don't want to build entities that can be attacked and can fall over. We want to build things that are strong, they're robust, and they have the infrastructure to make things work. Okay, can you guys give me one if you clear on that? It's a very important thing there. But the more important thing is when we're working on our sites and we start setting up the infrastructure like I've shown you week 3, 2, and 1, when we use subdomains, we can segment what we want to build and we can isolate specific entity. Okay, so our money site can be on the www, our blog can be on blog.domain.com. If they attack the blog and it gets hacked and things go wrong, all we're going to do is pull it down, delete everything, push up our backup. Now, what we're going to teach you guys about in this course is doing backups. Every week you have backups if your site's not too big. You back up every single week. If someone attacks you and it goes down, you delete everything, you push your backup back up, and you're back into action. That impacts, you lose maybe 4 hours. If you don't, you're going to lose the entire build. You have to go and build everything again. Okay, so we're going to cover that on week 7 and week 8. We're going to look at backups and we're going to look at analytics. Okay, so for now, start preparing yourself to think about, okay, how are you going to back up things? Okay, is that clear? Guys, can you give me one if that's cool? Yes, Mark says, okay, so set up the main site at www and the blog on blog.com as an example. Would multi-sites make it easier to manage then, or would it overcomplicate it? Mark, if you're going to use multi-sites, you need to think about why was multi-sites designed? What's the purpose of that infrastructure, that technology, that framework? Multi-sites was designed for entities that had multiple authors that needed their own place to work. Okay? If you're not fulfilling that role, then there's no point for multi-site setup. Can you give me a one if you're clear on that? Okay, so guys, when we think about frameworks and technologies that we use and the stuff that we do, think about what does the business actually need? Okay, do they need something that's overkill, or do they actually just need to have a blog that gets their message out there? Or do you have a team of guys that are experts in their field, and each guy needs his corporate ID, and he's going to speak about different types of things within the same industry? Okay. Now, there's multiple ways you can deal with that. You can use multi-site, or you can just use different logins and set each person up as the actual author when they're actually coming in. What's going to be the easiest for your business, and what's going to cost you the least to proceed? That's the questions you need to answer at that stage when you're looking at multiple people publishing on your actual network. Okay, right, so let's look at what we're doing here. Once we've got the keywords back from Kraken, what Kraken's going to give us is an overview of the entire market. We're going to see our competitor information. We're going to get to see what the market barrier to entry is. Okay, what I mean by this is when we come up against the market, what is the domain authority we're actually up against? How much money flows through that market? And what do we need to do to target the right type of theme, the right type of vertical? Where do we actually go and enter into this market? We're going to see that back. Once I finish the draws, we're going to get the information back. Then we look at who our stronger competitors are. We then going to look at what are the keywords they rank for and how they're driving the market. And then we're going to look at what is their offers that they have on their pages. The reason why we do this kind of stuff at this stage is when we're clear, like for example, if we looked at gold or IRA, the guys who were spending money in that market were between the age of 50 and 60. And the information that they wanted was Forex information. They wanted to see how markets are moving. And the presentation of the website was all Forex type of stuff, ticker tapes, stocks, what's happening. Okay. In SASE, it's a very visual market. We're dealing with ladies that want to see the eyes. They want to see the makeup on the eyes. They want to see the hair. They want to see the lips. They want to see the whole picture. It's a very visual market. So depending on what market you go in determines the look and feel of your actual website. Okay, so this is why the market personality, knowing who you're speaking to up front, is very, very, very crucial because it dictates on how you design the look and feel for your website when you're trying to communicate with them. And that's probably, I'd say, 50% of the battle. If I start presenting the woman at 60, let's take an example of SASE. If we had to have a website that said a lot of technical stuff, 30% of the people use this brand, 25% use that brand, 65% use lipstick. The people will look at the website and they'll be like, I want my hair cut. It's got nothing to do. I don't care about that stuff. However, with SASE, when we put the pictures up with the look, this is the work that we do, and they can actually click on it, they zoom in, they see the face, they see the makeup artist doing his work, they're seeing the hair. That's what sells to the people. So guys, we can't be disconnected from the actual market audience that we're dealing with for every single site that we build. Can you guys give me a one if you're clear on that? This is a thing that's overlooked often, and this is what creates most of the uphill push or the resistance of the actual market when people build the wrong type of sites for their audience. Okay, so with that said, where I'm at now is I'm in Mini-Me, Network Empire Builder, okay, and this week I want to start digging deeper into this tool, and I want to show you guys why I built this tool and what are the reasons why we've made this. Okay, the very first reason is for me is productivity. I want to build things out as fast as possible. Once I've built them out and I've mapped it out, I want to have my websites generated in 10 minutes or less. Okay, or actually a screen refresh. If I import my XML, when that page reloads, I want my entire website built. And this is what any silo builder does for us. Okay, it takes all this awesome information we get from Kraken, from TOKT. It takes this, it brings it in, it merges our business rules with it. We then can map out our silo architecture. We can map out what we want to publish, and bang, gives us an XML file. We take that, we import it in with our plugin, and the website's built in 10 seconds. Finished. Game over. Okay. Can you guys give me a one if you've used any Lite or any Pro? Who's used any of the DWS tools? So let's see. I know Mark makes a lot of money out of DWS. He uses it drives a lot of his business for all his reports. Once or twice, Mike, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's look at this. If we look at any Lite, I'm in minime.networkempire.com. This is a Lite version. What this gives us is an infrastructure where we can work through a linear process to build our websites very quickly. So the first thing we do is we import our keywords. The second thing we do is we design our site. The third thing we do is we mark our site for publishing. The fourth thing we do is we get some footnotes on how to build our WordPress website. And then number 5, we export the blueprint and we import it into our website. Okay. So if I click onto one, import my keywords. This is super easy. Once your drills are done in Kraken, you can export all the CSV files out of Kraken. And the way this works is we simply come in here and click on Kraken Voma, because that's where we get our keywords from. We click Browse, we point to our file, and we click Import Keywords. That'll take that whole spreadsheet and it'll hoover it in. Okay. Now, when you look at the tabs here, we've got the keyword decisions. This is our grid. This is where we decide what keyword has value to our business. We import, we bring the data in. We click on business rules and filters. This is where we dictate what are the rules for the product that we're working on. Okay. And what's nice about this screen is as we brought out each silo, we can change our business rules for that particular silo. We can actually look at it. We can say, on this silo, we're selling this product. These are our commercials. What keywords are best for this silo? And this is why we say, when you build your website, build it one silo at a time. One silo with the products that are related to the silo. Build it, map it out, get it finished, get your buy now button set up, publish the site, get it live, put your buy button in, and then start driving traffic. Okay. Who's used the business rules and filter screen? Can you guys give me a 1 or 2 if you've not? 2 for no and yes for 1 if you're familiar with the screen and you understand it.
Muted.
Okay. Right. Basically, the way the screen works is when we input our keywords, there's a few things we want to do. The first thing we want to do is we want to determine how strong the market is. So when we look at the white papers in Kraken, Kraken will give us all the domain authority and the page authority, and we can see across that market, we can actually look at how strong the market is. And when we look at the theme, we've got a rating scale of 1 to 10. So if you're dealing with a market with a domain authority of 70 on average, you just set it to 7. Okay. When you update these filters, it's going to adjust all the results from the Domain Web Studio, and it's going to actually exclude all the keywords that don't make your business rules. Now with DWS, what we're doing here is we're taking what we're selling, what the profits are, and we're basically going to create our sales funnel over here, and we're going to basically put our business prices in there, and then when the keywords come back, we can actually start looking at them objectively and saying that keyword can potentially make us X amount of money. Is this a transaction keyword, or is it actually a direct sales keyword? Guys, can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that?
Unmuted.
2 if that's a bit vague. So make sure that you guys get this. Okay.
Okay.
So if we look at the SASE case study here, what we got here is in SASE market, on average, their band was between 20s and 30s for domain authorities. So I just selected 2 as the barrier to entry. Okay. I've said here for my golden niche identifier, what I use this filter for here is show me the keywords that have got low competition but the potential to make me money. Okay, so give me all the keywords with 100,000 phrase match that can make me more than $1,000 a month. Okay, so it puts a little golden star on the keyword screen. We'll get a little golden star next to that. The silo structure, you can just leave this as basic as it is, the defaults. You don't have to worry about that. Our project development costs. What we're doing here is we're looking at, okay, if we have to create an article, what does it cost us to create an article for promotion? Or what does it cost us to create an article for content for our W1 site? So backlink unit cost is promotion. For every article we create that we publish out on Facebook or anywhere else, that's a backlink. We're driving traffic from an external source inwards. That's our average cost. Content cost is on the WR1, what is our average cost per article that we have to write? And what this does, it gives us a very interesting distinction. We can start looking at, do we create more content on site, or do we promote more off-site to drive traffic in to get the actual rankings? It gives us a nice little fork where we can actually look and scale. Okay, the project conversion rules is essentially where we say basically when a person lands on Google, we're saying that 25% of these people will click through and land on our landing page. Okay, when they land on our landing page, let's going to zoom in here so you can see this. X amount will actually buy something or fill in a form. Okay, if we're doing affiliate sales, on average, what is the amount of sales that will convert based on the affiliate page we're sending traffic to? Okay, so what this does, it gives us the ability to look at affiliate products versus direct sales. Okay, and affiliate products cross over into the same as people basically generating leads online, and then the sales team in the back office phones these people back and converts them into an actual product. So, for example, on step 3 here, let's say we're generating leads for bankruptcy, as an example. Out of every 10 leads that come in, 5 of them convert, 5 of them go away. Okay, that means we get you just basically put a 5 in the actual percentage. Okay, so we can say that 50% of these people, or 5, you put a 5 in out of the 10, will convert. And what this does is it works at the whole sales funnel, but it also shows us on this traffic calculator over here at the bottom, what do we need to do? Okay, so let's just say on average 3% of the people that come in to my website actually do something. As soon as I put the 3 in, you can see that we need 33 people at our budget to make our goal. Okay, so we've got a financial goal of $10,000 a month we're going to make. Okay, we've got our budget. Out of every 100 sales, we need 33 sales to meet our budget. Okay, and to create those 33 sales, we need 3,300 traffic coming in for our landing page. But if we're doing affiliate sales or back office sales, we actually need 66,000. Okay, does it make sense? Can you see the numbers? How they, the further we get away from our product and we start selling other people's product, can you see how big the jump is in traffic that we need to generate to create our financial goals to be after? Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on it? It's a very important point, this, but it will change the way you deal with affiliate sales and how you build affiliate sales into your business model. Because there's an extra hop that's involved. There's an extra point in the conversion funnel. Okay, and yeah, you can see the numbers. Okay, so let's just say 25% of the people convert. Okay, it impacts it. If we just said if we had 10% conversion on our site, stick 10 in there. So when you look at this funnel, 25% of the people see the search engines, they look at the listings, they click through. They land on our landing page, they read our article. 10% of those people will actually buy the product or they opt in to do something. Okay. If they opt in or they fill in the form, contact us. Let's just say 50% of these people 50% of those people actually opt in. They phone in, you speak to them, they speak to salespeople, they do it. What that means is to create a sale, we essentially need 10 people to create one sale to meet our goal of $100,000 a month. That's what we're after. Okay. If we reduce that you can see how the numbers change. Can you give me one if you're clear on that? Because this is at the heart of any silo builder. These numbers are what make us choose the keywords we're going to target when we build our blueprints. Okay, this has saved me so much money. It's actually shocking, because sometimes I've come in, I've got an idea, I've done a basic search in Kraken or TRT, I brought the keywords back, I pushed them in, I put in my cost to develop my content, I've put in the sales funnel, and I've looked and I thought, okay, I need to drive 100 people in to create 10 sales. Of those 10 sales, that'll make me $10,000 a month. Now that's if my average profit is $1,000 a sale. Okay. If this is, say, our average profit per sale was $25. Now look here. To make a goal, you're going to have to make 400 sales. Okay. 400 sales times 10 people means 4,000. We need 4,000 unique people to our site a month. If we're doing affiliate sales or back office sales, we need 8,000 people to our site a month. Can you give me one if you're clear on that, guys? Because this sets up the expectations for everything that you're going to build from this point forward. And at this point, you can either look at the market and say, there's not that much traffic in this market, which often indicates that you're in the wrong vertical. Or when you look at that, you can actually say, right, we're in the right vertical, but we have to adjust our price. Okay, so if we're not going to make a goal, we can't get 400 sales, but if we took it, if we double it, 50. Don't you love Windows 8? Right, so we've changed our price. We added $25 on, we've doubled our price. It's halved the amount of sales we need to meet our goal. It's also halved the traffic requirement. What the screen does, it gives us a modeling engine where we can find what is the best price to offer for the traffic we have available. Okay, guys, can you give me one? Because this is really important. We come to building out our site. Once you've got these numbers right, then it's just a matter of scaling after that point. Do you guys have any questions on the screen? I think this is quite an important screen, and I'd like to just pause here for a minute and see if there's any questions that come in so far. Shane, you said not so far. I don't understand what you mean by that. Could you clarify that? Okay, no questions so far. Okay, cool. Right. Anybody else got any questions? Right, so I'm going to move on from the screen. So if you look at what we've done, once you get your keywords back, we're going to import them in. You're going to select Kraken Voma. You're going to point to your file. You're going to press import. That'll bring your keywords in. 2, we're going to come to our business rules, and we're going to tweak these with what we think they are right. Okay. Number 3, we're going to actually, number 2 still, we're going to click on 2, design my site. This is where we're going to cherry pick the keywords we want, and we're going to actually add them into our blueprint. So what happens on this screen now, when we look at this, for every single row that we see over here, okay, there's 17 decisions that are checked before that keyword gets qualified. Okay, and the way we can see those decisions is when we click on the actual chart. So if we click on that chart, what this does, it takes us into what is the foundations of these decisions that are made. And this is our traffic to conversion funnel. You can see we've got traffic click-throughs to conversions. We've got our on-page conversions. We've got our backlink and content development costs. We've got our income potential. Then we look at the income versus expenses, and then we look at, okay, is this keyword potentially profitable? Now, as we move through, the color codes match the sales funnel, okay, profit. Now, this keyword, wedding invitations, has a high score in relation to our actual business. You can see actually the quality score is 100%. People that are buying wedding invitations will also be interested in getting their hair and makeup done. when we look at Sassy's business, because it's usually the bride who speaks to the printer and designs what she wants made for the wedding day. Okay. Can you guys give me one if you're clear on that? Two if you're not. What's going on over here? Okay. So if your client says to you, well, why is this keyword good for my business? You can come in and can say, okay, cool. Based on this, the traffic click-through conversions from the traffic available on the search engines, 26,000 people potentially will click through to your site if you're dealing with wedding invitations. The click-through rate is 6,662. 266 people will land on your website. 67 people will potentially subscribe. Your cost is $11,000 for backlinks or developing content. Total development cost $11,800. The income potential annually is 1.9 million. Monthly, 159,000. And so we go through this whole process, income versus expenditure, and what it does, it ticks off all the stuff that it does. So when we look at this, it gives us a deeper insight into the actual keyword, but the question we need to ask ourselves, even though wedding invitations is huge, right? Is it congruent to what the hair salon does? Give me a 1 if you say yes, or 2 if no, it's not. I want you guys to think about Sassy. They do hair, they do makeup, they do wedding hair, they do wedding makeup. They deal with brides. They do the hair and the makeup. That's it. They don't go below the neck. Everything else is another business. Would wedding invitations be a WR1 site, or would it be something we would consider for WR2 for lead generation? Okay, cool. Shane says WR2. Mark says WR2. The guys are getting it. What DWS is exposed to us is potentially a market that is rich with traffic. Okay, guys, remember, traffic is what creates conversions. And when we create the frame and we own the frame, we can put any banner advertising that we want. And we know any person ordering wedding invitations is either the mum, a grand or aunt of the bride, or the bride himself. Okay, so if there's 4 entities involved there, 25% of those people potentially could be the brides. And if they're within our locale where we service them, they could come to our salon. Can you guys see where I'm going with this? I think this is one of the things that I really want the guys to get about this tool that we developed, because it helps us map out our network, but it also helps us control and own the traffic. When we own the traffic, we can redirect the traffic in any direction. Okay. So think about wedding invitations. Let's just say within the wedding invitation market, we created a WR2 site. And on the WR2 site, there was one that was in fashion. We noticed in Google Trends that A5 pink with silver font wedding invitation was selling like hotcakes. We put that up there. We had a link to Amazon where they could buy it, but we also had our banner ads surrounding that particular thing, that particular topic, wedding invitations. If you're in the Eastern Cape, or let's think about the banner, we'll have a beautiful bride, we'll have Sassy Hair Salon, Port Elizabeth. We'll put the locale in so the guys can see. Can you see how people click on that and come through to the money site through this one keyword? Now the question is this a primary keyword? Does it work with our transaction website? Is it WR1 qualified? The answer is no, it's not. But it's a WR2. We can drive traffic and we can filter traffic out of that and create transactions on our WR1. Guys, can you give me 1 if you're clear on that? Because what DWS does is it takes our business rules, applies it to the entire data set, and brings the richest keywords to the top so that we can decide where this keyword belongs within the network that we're going to build. Does that clarify things for you guys? I can see we've got a lot of ones there. Okay. because this is really important. It helps us distinguish between what words are important for us, what we're selling now, and what keywords are important for things that are tangent to what we're doing. Okay. Wedding cakes is another one. Wedding decor is another one. Wedding rings is another one. Wedding photographers. Wedding cake again. So if you had 3 websites, one for wedding invitations, one for cakes, and one for decor, and one for wedding dresses, how much lead generation could you do for that as a byproduct of what your primary business is? Does it make sense to you guys? I just want to make sure that you get I want you guys to get into my mind of how I look at this data and how I create the bridges between how I build up the network.
Yeah, definitely people getting stuff. There's a couple light bulb moments, Matt.
Okay, cool. Because this is pretty important, guys. It helps you distinguish where we're going to use certain types of language in certain parts of the ring. Okay, helps us see it. So wedding invitations, we've got 26,000 people running through that traffic stream. It's got 26,000 people going through every single month for invitations. Bang! What if you spoke to one of your friends in a locale who does printing and you say, okay, for every lead I give you, give me 30% back on the transactions that you create? What would that mean to you on a monthly basis? Then you know that Aunt Bob or Aunt Joe down the road, she makes the best wedding cakes you've ever tasted. That's what she does. She bakes cakes for weddings. Yeah, you got 21,000. Can she deliver? If she got 1% of those, can she make 200 cakes a month? Yes or no? If she can't, it's not going to work. But if she can, what can you get? I know when I got married, the wedding cake was ridiculously expensive. I was like, are you joking me? You're charging me $100 for a cake, or $200, or probably in a US for a cake.
Don't tell us your problem.
But that's the price it goes with it.
Don't tell us your problem.
But this is the reality. One man's pain is another man's fortune.
Exactly.
So for wedding cakes, there's a lot of money that gets spent on a cake. Look how much traffic there is. There's 21,000 people a month looking for wedding cakes. In the US, it'll probably be much more. It's ridiculous.
And also, it's kind of
a whole website just dedicated on
best
cake makers.
And you guys remember that when we talked about irrational passion, there's an entire magazine just dedicated to that niche.
Exactly. But guys, this is where you generate leads. This is how, for a piece of information, name, cell phone, contact details, simple things like that, you pass that on, it creates a transaction, you get a commission back. That's affiliate marketing in its true essence. It's not selling stuff on ClickBank, which is rubbish. Okay, it's creating transactions with real world businesses. And when you start impacting their business in a way where you become the sole supplier of their leads for their business, you've got those people tied to you forever. They're not going to throw you away because they'll be too busy baking cakes. They're not going to have time to do online marketing. Okay, so when we look at this whole picture, I want to give you guys a zoomed out perspective. We're doing the WR1, but there's so much more that goes around just the W1. There's W1 plus on the W2s. We've got these other tangents. We've got wedding invitations, wedding cakes, wedding decor. The decor stuff with the tents and the chairs and the memorabilia they put inside an event. There you're looking at thousands of dollars that will be spent just for that. If you get 10%, what does that mean to you? So when you look at these words in DWS and you put your basic business rules in, always remember that when you come back up and you tweak the model to suit an affiliate product, let's just say you speak to Bob who does wedding decor, okay, and he says to you, okay, for every single lead that you give me that converts, I'll give you $500 for wedding decor. You can quickly change that, change the conversions. We can update that, and then we can look at what does wedding decor mean to me as an individual. So wedding decor means, if I own that keyword, 17 grand a month. Now, when you take it from this perspective, you can then go back into Kraken, you can drill into Kraken just on wedding decor, and you can look at what makes up that market. What do the people want within it? So they might want a tent, they want tables, they want chairs, they want tablecloths, they want plants, they want cutlery, they want who knows what, lights, disco lights, whatever. But all those things open up an entire new market. So this is where DWS really shines. Even on the light version, it gives us all the information we need. Okay, so when you look at this, we've got a few things in the column headers. We've got the keyword, okay, but what we get here, which is more important, is the conversion funnel. This keyword here, when we click on the second icon over here, this allows us to tweak things. So sometimes you might get an anomaly, and it might say that traffic's 26,000, but you've looked at 5 other tools. It might come back saying it's 20,000. If you really want to change it, you can go in there and change it, okay, and tweak it, and it'll adjust things accordingly. So it gives you the flexibility to manage and manipulate things. The next icon, when it says an S, it means it qualifies as a silo. That's based on the actual size of the market. So we look at the competing pages here. Based on our business rules, it determines the size. Then we've got the buyer's intent icons. Okay, when we see a dollar note and coins, we've got medium buyer's intent. And on wedding invitations, they're spending roughly $7.37 for that. Wedding photography or photographers, you can see over here when I hover over it, 26 Rand is spent. That's about $2.50 is what's being spent on wedding photographers per click. A lot of money is being spent over here. Another website you can build. Where does it fit into the story? It sits over here. Okay. And when you control these frames, not only are you generating leads, but they're seeing your banners, they're seeing your call to actions, they're seeing your articles, which leads them to WR1. If they're within your locale, you can sell to them. If they're out of your locale, you can connect them with other people who give you a payback. Okay. This is a bit of a different conversation I usually have on this week, but I wanted to dig deeper into the actual keywords and the meanings and how we can make money out of them this time around. Because on all the other tools, I explained how the system works. But I think it's important that in this chat now, we start looking a bit deeper at the meaning of words and what does it mean to our business. Can you guys give me a one if that helps you clarify what we actually see on the screen?
Yeah, light bulb moments flashing all over here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what Stu and I were thinking about when we developed this interface, when we built the stuff. So now if we understand the language and we can see the search volume and the competing pages and the potential conversions per month, when we look at the suggested backlinks and the suggested articles, this is a common thing that confuses people. TTR stands for time to rank. Based on the competition, 154,000 phrase match for winning invitations in South Africa, roughly it's going to take us 3 months to get ranked for the keyword, probably sooner, but to be in position 1, 2, or 3, it'll take us roughly 3 months. Okay. The suggested backlinks is saying if we want to own winning invitations, we need to have a minimum of 6 articles within a theme. Okay, now what I mean by that is when I look at a theme, if wedding was my theme and I hovered over it, it's saying I need on site at least 20 pieces of content. You can see that it says SSA 20. That means on the wedding silo, which is at the top of the vertical, we need at least 20 pieces of content in time to really start using the primary site we're building here now to get ranked for that term. This is on site. Okay. When we look at suggested backlinks, this is content that is off-site. Okay. So for any keyword that we target, suggested backlinks, when we hover over it, is 138. We need to have a lot of communications going through our WR1 blog, going out to Facebook, to all the other places, publishing, creating backlinks, running back into our site. We need a lot of content. So this is where silo architecture really starts becoming strong, because when we build things on site and we control the content on our own frame, it works out a lot cheaper to build that than to actually publish stuff on everybody else's platform. Okay. The only time we use other people's platforms is when we want to leverage the domain authority that platform has, and when we bring that trust back into our site so that our site can get ranked. Can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that, or 2 if you don't? I know this is, we're sort of crossing over into SEO now. But what I want to do in this exercise, I want to start giving you guys an expectation of roughly how your costs will work out when you think about your content strategy. Okay, so time to rank gives you the time, roughly 3 months based on the competing pages. Suggested backlinks is when you publish offsite, how much content you need. If you're going to add content on site, we need 6 articles for the theme of wedding invitations. So wedding invitations is a minimum of 6 articles. Guys, give me 1 if that's clear, or 2 if that's not clear. I just want to move on from there. Okay, cool. Right, so now when we look at the cost, right, the cost is basically we take in the maximum suggested backlinks times what it costs us to develop it, plus 1 landing page, i.e. if we did wedding invitations, it's that page plus the 13 times the cost gives us this value. Then we look at the revenue per month. That's the total minus that value gives us this number over here. That's the direct sales. The indirect sales, now this number is quite high. Why is that? If we look at our business rules, we can see it now. But indirect sales is typically when we build our infrastructure. Let's just say, for example, we've got a money site, we've got our blog, we've got a wiki, and then we've got another directory which has all our preferred providers in there. Okay, that's looking at those channels away from our channel that can create revenue for us. Okay, so if we look at those rules, I just want to refresh myself what we got in there, because that's quite high. Just waiting for that. This is taking forever. Vendors 1%. It's 5% conversion. Okay, so those numbers are conservative. It's quite interesting how it comes out. But basically what happens is once we got that done, we can really look at the market from an open perspective. So once we mapped out our silo structure, it's really simple to do it in DWS. Everything is based on a parent-child principle, okay? The index page is hair salon. When we click on the index page, every keyword we select in the first column and we click move to blueprint will become silos of hair salon. Can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Every keyword. So what we're doing is we selected hair salon. I've clicked on hair salon. If I want to add wedding invitation, cakes, and cake decor as silos on my site, and I click move to blueprint, it's going to put those keywords underneath as silos of my landing page. Let's just say we'll look at wedding dresses, and we'll add something under wedding dresses. I've clicked wedding dresses. I'm going to type in dress in my filter. I'm going to press submit and see what comes back from the data I have. I've got 167 keywords I can filter through. Nothing there, so let's just go wedding. Now, when we build our sites, guys, what I recommend doing is when you build a silo, like wedding, for example, okay, when you start dropping your keywords underneath that, none of these keywords qualify for W1. It's invitations, cakes, decor, rings, photographer's cake. We used everything up. For our WR1, wedding ideas, we want to speak to the ladies about their hair and their dresses. And we want to speak to them about the look. We want to speak to them about the bridesmaids. So that's why wedding ideas works with wedding. Bridal hair, professional makeup, wedding hair and makeup, wedding hairstyles. These are all keywords that have come back that have potential ROI for us. We just have to take these keywords and change the meaning through the context. This is where the persuasion layer comes up. So at this week, we're thinking about the architecture. What are the most important keywords within the industry that we're working in that have meaning, have value, and potentially can create a transaction for our business, for the products or services that we sell? Okay, can you guys give me a one? You're probably picking up all the time. I'm thinking about transaction. How can I create a deal? How can I sell? How can I sell? How can I sell? What words going to create a sell? What words will create potential more revenue for me later on? Okay, and so we go through the process of mapping this out. Now the way it works here is we select the keyword, we check, the keywords are done, move to blueprint, bang, then we got a silo structure built out in seconds. All our numbers are worked out for us. We can see the totals of what it means to our business. And this means we can rapidly build out a website on the key keywords. Now, in this example here, wedding dresses is not something we're going to target, okay? It's just done to teach you guys how to move things in, okay? But if we look at that process, we've imported our keywords. We've designed the site by selecting the parent, selecting the siblings, pressing move to blueprint, which shifts them in underneath whatever parent we selected. Then we can move to mark for publishing. Now, when we move to mark for publishing, essentially what we're doing here is we're saying to the system, these are the keywords we want to make go live now. And it works on the parent, child, principal as well. You cannot publish a child unless the parent is selected. Can you guys give me a one if you're not clear on that? Or two if you understand. Sorry. Okay. The silo is always the parent. Under the silo, we've got a bunch of children. Wedding ideas, bridal hair, professional makeup. I cannot, I'm going to unpublish that one just to show you guys. What I've done here, when we publish something, it shows us the world and the green arrow. That means the node is active in the XML that we're going to export out and import into DWS via into our blog via the plugin. At the moment, weddings turned off and wedding ideas is turned off. We've only got wedding hairstyles to bridal hair. We've only got those keywords selected over there. If we're going to import this XML file into the blog, we will not see any of these nodes, even though they're created, because the wedding, the parent, is not present. Okay, so the architecture cannot expose the whole structure because the parent is not available. Can you give me a one if that's clear? If I check that one and I check that one and I say approve for publishing, then the silo and the categories will be available and they will be exposed on the actual site. It's very simple. That's the way it works. It's not going to make things even more complicated. So all we've got to do basically is, once we design a site, we come in, we select the parent, the silo, we select the categories for that silo that we want to publish. We click approve for publishing, this button over here. Once it's approved, you'll get the blue world with the green arrow saying, okay, it's live. Once that's done, we can click on number 5, export our blueprint. And what this does is you can either export this as WR1 for your primary site, or you can export this as a WR2 if you're doing vKraken or video Kraken type of size. We've got two options here. But the one that you want for your WR1 is this one here. So you click on this link, You get an XML file that you'll save, and with our silo builder, this is one thing that you need to be aware of, okay? If you're building silos, categories, and supporting articles, you need to use the deep silo plugin because it's 4 layers deep. The reason I say 4 layers is the domain is layer 1, the silos is layer 2, the categories is layer 3, and the supporting articles is layer 4. Okay, so for example, if we wanted to publish this year and we wanted to publish those 2 supporting articles, if you don't use the deep silo plugin, you will not see those 2 there. You only see the hair and the categories. You'll see the silo and the categories. You won't see that. If you use the deep silo plugin, it will create the infrastructure to give you that extra layer down. Can you give me one if you're clear on that? I would suggest using the deep silo plugin for all your sites that you build. That covers you across all the stuff that you need. Okay. If you're using the simple silo builder, you can only do silos and categories. You can't drop down into the 3rd layer. Also actually the 4th tier. Domains 1, silos 2, categories 3, supporting articles is the 4th level down. Okay. So once that's done, once we've got our blueprint, we hop across to our blog, we go to the silo builder, we click browse, we point to our XML, we click import, boom, whole website's built in the screen refresh. Doesn't matter if you've got 10 nodes or you've got 100 nodes. It's literally in 5 or 10 seconds, all your pages are created, everything is done, everything is ready. You can just go in and drop your content in. Guys, can you give me a one if you're clear on the actual process of how we're going to use DWS, any silo builder, to find the opportunities in the actual market and to start understanding how the traffic flows and where the money flows through the market and what meaning it has to our actual business that we're building. Can you give me one if you're clear on that, or 2 if it's still vague?
No, we've got everybody on board.
Is that it?
Yep.
That's all I wanted to cover this week, guys. Next week, what we're going to start doing is we're going to actually start building the sites. By that time, you'll have all your keywords, and this is where we start setting up the blogs. We're going to set up a blog, we're going to set up a money site, we're going to import our keywords in, and what I recommend you guys do from this week forward is build one silo at a time. So essentially, you start off with wedding, and all you need at a minimum is 3 articles to start off with. So it's a silo and a minimum of 3, preferably 5 articles defining the most important keywords in your market relevant to your market personality and the product or service that you're selling. And that's what you want to build this week, is a single silo with 5 articles, and you want to have it live on your WR1 money site. That's essentially what we want to achieve this week. Can you guys give me one if that's clear? And then what I want to do now is open up the call to any questions regarding what we've learned in weeks 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
so you guys are stuck.
Yeah, so now's the time for questions before we wrap up. And if you have a microphone, let us know so that we can open up the line. You can talk to us. It's one of the formats we've been using in some other courses that is working really well. So if you don't have a microphone, that's okay. You can type your question in. Anybody have any questions? Or are you all ready to go in and dominate your market or your niche or use the tool? Any questions? Go ahead and let me know what's going on. Okay. Shane is asking, I haven't used DWS Mini-Me yet. Is this the same app? Matt, can you clarify that?
Yes, Mini-Me is the light version. In the Pro version, we have additional stuff. I've got the Pro version open. So if I go to Sassy, your projects will duplicate it, just exposes more things like the promotional plan and team communications, content. There's a few additional features that we have in the actual Pro version. So for example, with the promotional plan, we can go in, and this is more for the SEO type of guys who are speaking to clients. We can then start setting expectations. So if I clicked on promotional plans, to give you an example quickly of the difference, Mini-Me is get your site out, build it fast, all the extra stuff is not in there, bang, you can knock it out. With the promotional plan, where we click on manage the promotional blueprint, it opens up a few more reports like the cost analysis and the progress report of how we can track things.
Okay.
But this is quite cool because we can actually map out from your promotion what you need to do for the period of time to dominate your market.
Gotcha. Okay. Marvin's got a question also. How do we treat the suggested on-page articles required on keywords selected for the article?
How do we treat the suggested on-page articles? When you think about your silo, right, if you're going to a theme and it says the SSA, the suggested articles are 6, then we need to think about what are the 6 most important things we have to deal with. Okay, are the keywords that actually cover this? So when we're talking about wedding hair and wedding makeup, we've got bridal hair, we've got bridal makeup, we've got bridesmaids, we've got mother of the brides, we've got actual bridegroom. There's already 5 or 6 different topics we can talk about. So what I do there is I always go back to my product. I then look at the market personality and I think to myself, who else is involved in the story? And how do they fit into this? And I'll create my content around those people. So I'm always coming back from the market personalities perspective, and I try and create the congruency between my business, my product, and what the market personality actually needs. Okay. And typically that helps me fulfill that content requirement there. Does that answer your question, Marvin?
Does that cover it, Marvin, or do you want more specifics? Okay. He's typing. Do you have a microphone, Marvin? You can speak to us if you wish. Okay. Let me just pull you on live. It'll be a little bit easier to have the conversation. Let me go ahead and find you here. Attendees. And there is Marvin. Where are you? Okay. Thanks, Marvin. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Good.
When you have on the silo, it will suggest the number of articles. And let's just, the site I'm working on right now, I'm planning on just putting the categories in as the supporting articles.
Okay.
But on those keywords on the supporting articles in DWS, it also has a number of supporting articles suggested on that keyword. So do we need to have multiple supporting articles on that keyword or just the one?
Oh, right. I get where you're coming. This is a common, this is the weird thing about what we do. Because we deal in a market of themes, we're dealing with themes. A theme is essentially an idea with a subset of related topics underneath it, okay? What the suggested articles is saying is when you're entering into or wanting to rank for this keyword or this theme, you need at least 6 supporting articles underneath that actual theme. So if we move that theme into a silo, we could have 6 categories, or we could have 2 categories plus related content elsewhere in the site. It's giving us an indication of what the theme needs in the context of the site. That's what that number means.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Marvin. The thematic push or the thematic buoyancy, I'm actually looking on my other monitor here in the lab. I can give you an example. It's really weird. Like if I have a one-page site out there on the topic of, let me give you an example on my own case of, say, SEO, Google, like SEO Panda recovery, right? I've got one site that's got no supporting articles at all on a different domain that's ranked like number 120, right? And then the other day I had another article, another site that was one page with one article underneath it that was ranked like 60 and it doesn't have the keyword in its domain. As soon as I started putting other articles roughly in a silo format, what's weird is that you don't even have to have a perfect silo format. It doesn't work effectively. But below it, this one I actually happened to silo, it popped up 50 positions by just adding 2 additional articles.
Yeah.
Like you can watch it like on whatever you use, like SERPbook or AWS Cloud or whatever ranking tools you're using. What's weird about that is, okay, then at that point, it's just a matter of what kind of content are you creating. The content, the text of the page should be related to your theme, and there is some aspects. That's why Matt has the keyword DNA stuff laid out. You want to keep it thematically related. Now I know this is basic siloing 101, but you can test it for yourself. Like you can watch that. If you look at any of the softwares out there, like Scribe Content or any of those things out there, all they're really doing is checking the entire site to see whether or not the whole site is thematic, how coherent the conversation is happening on the whole site. And if you start like running some ranking reports, like Matt does this all the time, it's actually remarkable how few articles you really need to have on mid-difficult keywords to pop it up on a first page especially when you're in a silo structure. Now,
Yeah.
and that's really what we've got set up here for you, is just to make sure that you now the question, Marvin, that's really interesting is how difficult is a specific term to pop for, and that's going to vary on the domain authority on the home page. And that's really like there's sometimes if all the competitors for a specific term that you're targeting, and we're targeting all these terms in bulk, but if a specific term that you're targeting, everybody on the top 5 has a domain authority of 85 and a page authority of 60, you've got some real competition. And of course we use PageRank also in DWS. You're obviously going to have a whole lot of articles, and your off-page strategy is going to have to be a little bit stronger. I know this is kind of basic SEO, but it is good. It is a good reminder whenever I have any doubts about how important siloing or theming is. All I have to do is look at one of my domains that I'm targeting, or I'm not going to say PBN, but an off-page domain that doesn't have any supporting terms, and then compare it to a site that I'm also targeting the same term with even a couple of articles, and the difference is between 40 and 50 ranking positions. Does that make sense, Marvin?
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
because the thing to remember there, Marvin, is the more content you create on site, the less off-site content you need to create.
It really is true. And I've got some tests running on this, and you guys can run your own tests. I have I use Google custom search engines. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. You can actually build your own Google custom search engine. But that's just one of the tips that I use in-house, is because I want to focus only. In other words, it only brings back results for my own personal network of sites, which is about 100 or 200 sites. And so I can actually what?
My number one competitor has page authority of less than 30.
Okay.
Domain authority of less than 30, and the page authority is actually in some cases, on some of the pages, higher than that, but never over 40. So that should be.
Oh, that's going to be pretty easy. You just want to make sure that you want to make sure that you keep the keywords in the LSI. Now, obviously you're going to want to target your money keyword, make sure you've got some cost per click and everything on there. But you're going to want to stack a little bit. You can call siloing stacking. I mean, we call domain authority stacking only when we're referring to off page. But it really is, you're just stacking your theme and the theme cluster. The buoyancy, what Google's doing is, remember, domain authority is trust and page authority is power, really. So what you're trying to do is make sure that when Google parses your site, index it, it's actually getting more and more advanced. Like this stuff that we've been teaching for 5 years on themes is actually getting more intense. Like I'm watching better results now as we move forward. In other words, they're just looking at your site, at the conversation, and they're trying to listen to the people. It's like you're in a crowded room of pages and concepts and ideas, which is your site. Silo or no silo, like just leave silos out of it for a second, because it still works. Even if you don't silo, it just works 10 times better when you silo. You could have like 500 pages on a badly structured site, and every time you use the word, whatever your word is, like I don't know, like Panda SEO recovery or something like that. If I target every one of those keywords and a few LSI terms towards a single page, even if it was badly structured, that page is just going to skyrocket. Like I've done that before on a badly siloed site. It just goes boom, like from 60 to 10. Like it's crazy, especially if the content is 100% unique. And if I'm really lazy, I'll just create audios and have them transcribed for some of those pages to pop. I just make sure that the conversation or the interview on that page is covering it. My favorite way of creating content is actually audio transcription. and it's cheap
Yeah,
too if you do
because
it right.
the thing you want to think about your guys is the context of the actual conversation, because Google sees the whole site and it understands the context of that entire site. So
Yeah, it's
if
interesting.
everything is and related,
But
you
does
can
that?
knock a 50-page site out of the ballpark with a 15-page website,
Yeah,
which is
you
properly
really
themed.
can. But let's really look at the engineering of what's going on there. Is most sites are so badly structured that if there's a 50-page site, they might have two or three other pages that aren't linking to the ranking page, the target page, that are just kind of out there in la la land. And like I've gone into sites and just tweaked that orphaned page. And even if it's not a silo site, I pointed it. This is not recommended, by the way. I'm just saying it works because I tested it. And you can point those orphan pages back to the page, which is your target page. And you'll watch even a badly structured site just pop, even if you use an LSI term. Like you don't want to use the same exact match phrase every single time on a large number of pages. But you get what I'm saying, right, Marvin?
Yes.
Okay. And it does, you can test this for yourself. It's kind of fun. It's like, okay, I'm on position 60 for this term, and you go and you correct the site and you just point a few of the, now one of the things is, like Jimmy talks about, you don't really want to change the URL structure on one of those
No.
pages and point to the other one. The thing is what I have tested is if I've added more content to one of those orphaned pages, and on the new content, I just use the phrase again, and then I link over to the correct page, it'll pop there, and I have seen no penalty on that. But what you really do want to avoid is like existing pages like, damn, I should have linked before it was indexed. And
Yeah, if it exists, just leave it alone.
yeah, well, I have direct results of adding new content and linking the new content to the page. It pops. So just so you guys know, I've tested that. I don't really care what anybody says. I've got dozens of tests. However, you don't want to like take that existing content and change the link, but you can add content to your page. I mean, think about it from Google's perspective. You're adding content all the time. But all I'm really trying to get here is like you guys got to test for yourself. And then when you try the old-fashioned way on really crappy sites, and then you start building stuff in the way that Matt's talking about here, you get a result that's 10 times better because you've got the H1 tags, you've got the title tag is the big one, of course. The title is the title is actually stupidly important. I mean, I find it almost disappointing to the effect that a proper title tag has. I mean, you can just put a title tag on all of these pages, and they're stacked, and you're like, oh damn, I wish it was harder than that because I thought I was gonna have to really tweak the content. So
I've got one more question that came up on the import from the Kraken Boma.
sure.
There's some words that I mean I can remember a long time ago seeing the dot coming after a word. Now I'm starting to see like three dots coming up after a word. Word this dot dot dot. What is the meaning of that?
I do not know.
Okay.
That's just user content. People are probably trying to say, okay, here's my phrase, dot dot dot. You could find it's just maybe guys working in the industry that are trying to see, okay, is it a wild card? They're just using the search engine in the right
Yeah, that's
way.
pretty weird. I'm surprised it actually made it through. That must mean that Google
Yeah.
is allowing for those weird artifacts. But that's a good question, Marvin. I'm not 100% sure what that is, and I wouldn't probably try to rank for that
Okay.
unless there's paid.
Yeah.
If there's paid, I can't imagine. No, I don't think Google's giving dollar values to artifacts.
But there was no pay-per-click.
No,
But
there's
there
not.
was.
Yeah, that means that that's probably an artifact of the Google scrape. I'm really not sure, but I'll keep an eye out for that. But I wouldn't try to rank for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other
Now, those
questions?
things happen, Russ, when guys are trying to game it. They're trying to game the system. It creates these weird anomalies.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of
So
that.
anomaly, that's all it is.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's search engine query spam, but I'm just a little surprised that Google allows that through because we parse through their thingy. So I'm just surprised that I'm not sure what's going on there. Let me see. Somebody else asking a question here. Is there such a thing as too many silos? I got to say, I'll weigh in here, and then I'll let Matt weigh in here. I really don't think so. I don't think there's such thing as too much content because you start looking at the domain authority. Generally speaking, as content goes up, the authority, both the power and the authority tend to go up. Usually the authority. I mean, usually the trust is going to go up pretty rapidly.
The one thing I would say is it also depends on your industry you're in. like in hair salons, the hair salons want to say too much. They're going to speak about their basic stuff, and then what more can they say?
Yeah.
That's also one of the factors that will detect how many silos you actually need to go.
Well, yeah, again, that's a different question. What Matt's saying there is don't overdo it, but I think it's a very interesting question to stretch the limits of this. Are you going to get penalized if I'm a little old lady in Sedona, Arizona, with like the lady I go to get my hair cut when I'm there, and I've got a 2 million page site on hair. Is her little local site going to get de-indexed? No, it'd be a bit overkill, but you're going to be the authority in the world on hair. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially if all the content is unique and it's actually interesting and it's socialized.
Yeah, if she's posting between every single haircut.
Well, yeah, it's just looking. You have to actually look at everything at the limits, and I don't really see Google. There's no possible position in which Google thinks that too much unique content is going to be penalized. So it's just not. But the reason that we built this tool is to make sure that you don't do more than you have to. And I'm not saying that we have the numbers on DWS perfect, but generally speaking, what we've given you is something we're going to make sure, like the numbers that come up here on the way that Matt's developed is if you do the number of articles that we're saying, you're sure to
movement.
Yeah, you're going to see movement. And that's really what we want to make sure. And I'll just make sure you get your H1s. Like if you follow the instructions that Matt gives you, the title is specifically, I'm just kind of blown away about how powerful the title is. It's kind of boring and weird. Just make sure you have the keyword in your title. But your theme. Another thing is with your theme, like don't be putting the same long tail in every, silo. Really make sure you understand the LSI and all that.
Yeah, guys, look, when you think about your themes, when you're building a silo architecture, you don't have to repeat yourself. This is a big challenge a lot of people have. They try and stick the locale in every other article. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep on repeating the same keyword over and over and over again. If you got it in your title, it's in your URL, you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to mention it. Then you start using your DNA braid where it's other variations of, which gives you a lot of freedom to actually write more creatively. Don't focus on SEO and trying to force it through. You're not going to get it through that way. You'll get penalized.
Yeah. Also,
if you're more natural and you speak to your audience, that's going to get you further.
Exactly. Shane, you asked, so do we not really use TLKT in this process? Seems like you went from Kraken to DWS. You can go either way. I don't care where you get your freaking source of keywords, man. I mean, the bottom line is that I want you to make money. So you have a factor of needing to target keywords that make sense for your audience and that are profitable and that are related to the co-occurrence. And you see what I mean? How there's like 3 transparencies here. If Kraken, the question you ask is good. If you don't have enough on Kraken, then import TLKT. That's why we give you both functions. Generally, what happens is that if there's not enough keywords in Kraken, you're actually probably in a niche. The Kraken VOMA blueprint report will tend to give you more TLKT-like articles under it if you generate a report, but it doesn't always. And so I do that, yes, Shane. What I do is I'll import TLKT. I'll do a filter, and that filter will generally be highly relevant. It's the filter that you all have in your TLKT. And so that's how I know both Matt and I do it, is we just look to see. It's going to depend. Remember, the more of a niche you're in, the less difficult your competition, and you're kind of pointing at the bottom of the barrel. But over time, I still like to have my most competitive terms in the silo landing page. And then I like to target the silo landing page with the longer tails and the less competitive. And remember,
guys, sorry, Russ, carry on.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, what else to say? Last week we spoke about Kraken and the context of where Kraken fits into the story. And where Kraken fits into the story, we're looking at the actual market. What are the most important words and language used with search volume, cost per click, and total search market value? When Kraken's filter stops, where the scan stops, that's where TLKT comes from the bottom up and says, okay, here's the rest of the keywords that are long tails and have value as well. So we've got a match of vertical analysis, which gets overlapped by keyword analysis using LSR. This is what happens between the two. They sort of overlap each other, which gives us a nice band and a nice dissect of the entire market. That's how the two tools complement each other, Shane.
Yeah,
So if you know a local market, then you'd come in with from TLKT, because local is always going to be the low-hanging fruit, low search volume, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means on a local basis, the queries in context to a national level are going to be much smaller, so Kraken ignores them.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to use Kraken for a local search. That's the bottom line. TLKT is what you're going to want to use. We've been talking about adding a Tumblr feature, and there's a few other updates coming. Also, to answer your question, Shane, yes, TLKT will be, or the functionality that it has will eventually be incorporated directly into the version of DWS that Matt has been showing you. It's already on the schedule, but I'm not supposed to give any dates for when that's out because it's not clear yet, but it's already started the spec. So there's that.
Right. You said that you didn't, where we got the keywords. Let me ask you this. What I did, I took the top 10 sites and used another keyword tool to scrape all the keywords that those sites were ranked for. Okay. And then I ran those through both Kraken and through the last keyword tool. Okay. And I ended up using the last keyword tool, ran that list through there. Is that, and then the last keyword tool actually added some words. I had I think 205 words that came from the competitors, and it ended up with 262 words that I put into DWS. But a lot of them were garbage once I got them in DWS. But is that an acceptable way to do it?
That's a way to do it.
Yes.
Kraken generally pulls back from the competitor anyway, so the tool that, I don't know if you use the Google tool, we already do that in Kraken, but we do not do that in TLKT, so that's a completely fine way to do it. Some of you may not know that Kraken also has a keyword import function. You can actually take competitor terms and clarify them for pay-per-click term money if you want. One interesting thing about that is that Kraken does not provide, both TLKT and Kraken do not provide traffic volume the same way that other tools do, because we're the only tool in the market that actually does it with a method called $100 bid max. Are you guys familiar with that? Well, when we actually query a tool, the reason our keyword data is better, although different, in fact, I'll drop a link in here. It's called keyword tool data contradictions. It's an interview that Sue and I did. I can share that with you. When we query Google for the value and the volume of traffic to the money, we actually turn our bid offer to get that data, because essentially Google lies through their teeth, right? So what we have to, oh yeah, they're lying so bad. In fact, but it's really important to understand what's going on there. They're lying in their favor because they just want to give you a general bid and they want to hijack the bid. But if you tell them, hey Google, I'm willing to spend unlimited amounts of money on this term, all of a sudden they get two-faced on you and they turn around and then they say, oh, well, what the traffic really is this. They give you a more honest to goodness bid and traffic volume. Now, other tools on the market, they're just going directly straight. They're just saying, okay, if SEO ranking is a $9.87 per click keyword, they'll give you the data. It's $9.87 click, and it's got 400 visitors per day. As soon as you're willing to say, okay, because that's what they want you to bid. They want you to bid in that little sweet spot. If you say, look, I'm willing to spend $100 per click, all of a sudden they turn around, they get two-faced, and they say, okay, never mind. The real traffic is 100 and something clicks per day. And the value of this keyword is actually around $3. That's probably more than you're going to pay. In other words, when you're willing to jack the bid and go really, really high and say, hey, we'll pay a lot, they're willing to tell you a little bit more honestly about what the traffic you can really expect is and what they're going to charge you. Does that make sense?
Yes. And that explains the other thing about why. Well, I was getting my keywords from SEMrush, and the traffic was garbage. I mean, it was not even close to what the traffic was on the last keyword tool, and that explains that. Yeah, and it's a real common problem that we have right now. This is probably the most frequently asked questions. In fact, it's in our help files.
And I guess some people would say it's a disadvantage. Why don't we do it like everybody else? Well, because it's a freaking lie. That's why. And
You
second,
can't base numbers on it.
no. And second of all, if people actually understood what's going on behind the scenes, you generally would want the truth when building a website. Because remember, the purpose for us getting this keyword data is that we want to build a themed website. And we want honest to goodness traffic. And it's really important for us when we give you the total search market value in Kraken. It's really important for us to have that honest to goodness, or at least less imperfect data. Because when we give you the total search market value, what we're doing is, when we pull back all those keywords in Kraken and make this big giant mountain of paid, valuable keywords, we throw away the keywords that don't have any money attached to them in Kraken. And then we want to give you this number in the right-hand corner called the total search market value. I think you guys have seen that. Well, what that is that's the actual pile of money that you would pay if you were willing to bid $100 per click on every single keyword in the market.
Yeah.
And there is no data on earth that does that. Now, I could stand around and write articles and do interviews and talk about this for like 2 weeks straight. People still wouldn't understand what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, but just suffice it to say that it is really important, because you're using this data to build a website more effectively, and the data that Matt's bringing back in any silo builder is going to be a more accurate picture being painted of the market. And so when these things start to pop on the search engines, when you start to rank, your expectations and your priorities in selecting these keyword decisions are going to be a little bit more honest to yourself. And then you're going to be able to manage your expectations in terms of the client as well as terms of traffic. I hope that helps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, again, gosh, I would love to be able to explain that really easily to my market without making it sound like rocket science. It's not that hard, but I just got to find a way to communicate, that in terms of marketing.
Yeah. Basically, to summarize, guys, what we've done is, if we took the stance that anything Google says is like quicksand, the longer you stand on it and the longer you overthink it, you're going to sink deeper down into their hole. What we've done is we're saying, look, if that's the case, let's normalize the data, let's create a baseline that we can actually build business rules on, and then that gives us a solid foundation to actually work from, or a solider foundation, if I can call it that. And that's where these conversions and all these numbers come from in DWS. It tells us, okay, roughly, if we're going to enter into the theme of wedding invitations, we need at a minimum 6 articles on site, or we need 6 articles on site plus 13 articles off site to really start breaking into that market. This is what the tool's telling us. And we've got a time level of roughly 3 months to see the movement happen. Now, that's based on slow conversions. It's not based on Jimmy Kelley conversions where you can just nail stuff. This is based on normal people's expectations and how they move and day-to-day type of working things. That's where those numbers sort of come from. But what DWS does for us...
question.
Pardon?
You might want to answer Reisel's question too.
I'll check it now. Raz is asking us, does the DWS XML blueprint arrange the imported pages and categories based on traffic, competition, etc. metrics, or just the way we drag them into blueprint? What we can do here for you guys, in the Pro version, you've got multiple exports, so you can determine how you want to export it. So you can order by search, you can order by competing pages, you can order by search volume descending. With no content, you can order by custom navigation ordered, and you can generate your W2s. Alternatively, what you can do is you can click on Manage Blueprint, and when you click on this little folder with the icon next to the keyword that you want, you can dictate by a level. By default, they're all set to 0. So it'll sort it by search and competing pages. Lowest competing pages, highest search will float to the top. You can override it by putting in a 1 for number 1, 2 for number 2, 3 for number 3, and onwards. You can dictate the custom value of how it gets ordered out. So it gives us the flexibility either through manage blueprints, clicking on the folder with the little spanner, we can dictate the custom order of how keywords are stacked, or we can choose from one of the exports of what we want. Does that answer your question, Raz?
I don't think that answers his question. The answer is no, Razzle. It doesn't.
Does it arrange the input?
Okay, so, but you don't really need to. I guess what's more important, what's the question behind the question? Why would you want that? Well, you can rearrange anything in the way that you want. So I guess remember that it really doesn't matter what order the page is or the article underneath the site landing page is in order to get it to pop. Okay,
Yes.
you could have, you could have the least profitable keyword page article below your site landing page first, and the most expensive one last, and probably you'd have generally the same results. Now that can be problematic in terms of number of links on page on the site landing page. I can see what you're saying there. So it's a little bit better. But generally speaking, it doesn't automatically. Razzle is saying, okay, as I understood a couple of moments back, the order was important. Do you think the order is important, Matt?
For me, it's the context of the actual story.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If we think of the index of a book,
yeah.
Because remember, guys, we're building a technical infrastructure with keywords. Then on top of that, we're going to stack the persuasion layer, which is the copy. It's the headlines. It's the article.
Yeah.
And it's the context of how the articles are stacked that will create a conversion faster than technical SEO, search volume, copy pages.
Now, that being said, Riza, what could happen is if you've got 700 articles underneath the silo landing page, when Googlebot comes to your index page and tries to parse that, as you know, after the first couple 100K, the spider starts to lose steam, although it's gotten a lot stronger. They got some new tech. Metrics-wise, not so much, no. But there is a point in that if your most important keyword that you want to rank for is at the bottom of a gigantic silo structure and it's got to parse,
move it to the top.
It's got to, move it to the top. I mean, it is true that you want to way forward your most important stuff. So I can kind of see where you're coming from there. But it really isn't like make or break you. Most of it's going to get parsed.
Here's an example, guys. Let's just say you work in a seasonal market. In winter, you do ice fishing. In summer, you shoot mooses. I just make this up. When you get to summer season and you're taking guys hunting, you would shift in your structure. Moose hunting season opens this month to that month. Guys, book your trips now. But then when you get to winter, your business has to change. You switch to ice fishing. You take the guys on extreme ice fishing adventures. Then that can move to the top. So the actual position in your site is not going to influence the rankings. It's going to influence your actual business more.
Yeah.
When you shuffle things around because you want to get them in the eye of the viewer.
Yeah,
it's always about the market personality.
It's about the market personality, and we're also talking about a WR1 or a money site. So just remember, there's always a context, and there's no hard and fast and set rules. It depends on where you are in your web ring and what your priority are. So I know that some of you guys' priority is ranking for the term, and you've got a keyword hit list. Other people are more about ongoing storytelling, what I call the narrative. I call that SEO casting. SEO casting is just ranking by default because you talk about something so damn much. That's how I do it. But even so, you want to make sure that you've got your order posting. So I always have my framework. If I'm going to talk about something so damn much, I want to at least make sure that I put the conversations in the right buckets. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, right.
So if I've got a conversation about, let's say the keyword I'm talking about is Google Panda recovery, right? If I'm going to do it, Matt and I are just having a conversation about that, and we write an article. In that conversation, if we have any intelligence at all, unless we're just like idiot SEO content writers that don't know anything about the topic and are just trying to rank for it, which makes for no real tone or concepts that are intelligent, they might rank, but nobody's going to believe it. But if we're having an intelligent conversation about something, by the time we're done with the 5-minute conversation, probably some of the most important words in the entire industry in that 5-minute conversation are going to exist, right? The trick at that point, once they're created or written down, is you got to make sure that you put everything in the right bucket. You got to make sure that you put it in the right location in your site structure. You got to make sure that you know where that conversation goes and that you've got your title, header, and everything. And what's great about DWS is that I just use that I've got my whole conversation stacked up, so I know what conversations to have. Like I built different sites I have with this. So when I have a conversation, or I have somebody write for me, or I add a video, I know what that target word or word DNA cluster is, and I just try to keep that conversation happening around that concept. Does that make sense? And sometimes you're going to have, there's going to be some deviation. I mean, here's the thing, you guys. Just remember that Google is really, really small. Like it's so, like, I know it seems like this big bad beast, but it's actually pretty pathetic. Like when you really look at what's going on. Like you can set your Google search to like 100 URLs returned, and you can just. I actually do text summarization for almost every keyword that I do, and I just look at the words in a conversation that's going 100 links deep, and you'll find there's really only like on 100 Google, on 100 listings tied to a Google keyword that you may be targeting, there's only about 20 or 30 keywords that are, long tails that are like 3 phrases, 3 keywords long. In other words, it's kind of chaos out there is what I'm really trying to say. Is that the conversations happening around keywords are ill thought out and they're ill structured. And so all you guys are doing is just giving a little bit of extra structure. Okay. Larry's asking, I have some fuzziness. You said you wanted us to work out one silo at a time in the beginning. However, it seems DWS is able to place everything in the end. What should we be doing? Are you saying that you're confused about whether or not you should be building all of your silos right now, or you're confused about the instructions that Matt gave you? How it comes together. Okay. Well, one of the reasons that we're going through this course is that we're going to be showing you. Matt, are you still here? Okay. I think he might have logged off.
No, I agreed there. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason we want to take you through the process once, and you can also go ahead to the weeks coming up, and if you want to, and look at how things kind of come together. Matt wanted you to start with one, primarily just so you didn't get overwhelmed. Matt, you want to speak to that question?
Yeah, guys, when I started doing soloing probably 7 or 8 years ago, I found it much easier to think about one story and to think it through and to create it than to try and do 3 at the same time. It's very hard to try and have 3 concepts and work them through and plan the content, write the content, get the keywords, create the keyword DNA, and then bring it all together. So when you build one silo, it's one silo, one service, one content, one story. You build that silo structure out, you write it out, you just focus on that. Get it live. The reason why I do that is I get it live faster. Once we got it live, then what happens is we basically can then go and start on the second silo, but that site's live. It's getting indexed and it's moving up the rankings.
Yeah,
that's why we do that.
Exactly. And we just had to start somewhere, Larry. Of course, there's people that have graduated from our training system. The starting gun goes off and they run and do their thing, and they got, they have 10 silos all completely formatted with the articles and their plan by the end of the day. So if you want to look in the future of how it comes together for you once you've graduated, that's how it's going to look. The biggest challenge for people, honestly, is determining what silos there are and looking at a larger content strategy. This is why this is a training course. And that all begins with what the heck you are selling and what is your offer. The real key is to not confuse SEO from digital marketing. Okay, digital marketing is about understanding what your offer is and what it is that you're selling. We call that what the heck you're selling. That's why we spent so much time, because it's entirely possible that you could have multiple silos around your offer, but we can't really fully actualize every offer. We have people in these courses that come that have nothing to sell. They're just learning the technique, so everything's highly theoretical. And there's some of you who actually have products or offers. You got to walk backwards from your offer, okay, and look and to determine how many silos there are. So if that's going to be a product-based issue, and that's going to be a positioning-based issue. And so you can see the conundrum here is, how do you teach positioning, marketing, and offer creation as it relates to silo structure? Now, we've done a pretty good job in week 2 and 3, as you guys recall. How many of you feel like you kind of came back around? You have an idea of how to connect your offer to a silo structure? Give me a 1 or 2 if you still feel lost at sea on that front. Okay, Marvin's got that. Larry's got that. Okay, you guys are okay then. Good. So that's really where it is. And how big of a site do you want to build? Well, again, that's going to be how ambitious you are. That's why Matt created the software the way that he did. For instance, if you're going for a single keyword phrase or a keyword phrase where your average competitor has a domain authority of 90 and a page authority of 60, you've got some work to do. Now, I don't know how long you guys have known me, but I still stand and I'm still teaching what I taught almost 10 years ago when ThemeZoom 1.0 launched, which is the whole purpose of all of that is to be ambitious, but agile. Now there's new terms for that: agile development, lean development, lean blueprint. Everything that we're actually teaching you guys here is actually lean website development. That's why Matt has you do the first silo first. Lean startup and lean agile or agile silo development just simply means start with one thing, get it rolling, test it, get it profitable, and then begin to build your other stack of pages. Because once you have the experience of that first stack of pages popping, and then you can deal with the other things that we teach you in certification level 2, which how do you get your offer to convert? I mean, I've given you guys enough knowledge about how to target your product and the rest, but notice that I haven't really gone in much into copy or painkiller art. We actually teach a little bit of that next week and the week after. The ultimate thing is to make sure that your conversion, once you get your rankings, is happening. And there's a whole nother level of training we have in a completely different training course. So you guys are doing really, really well. The key is to be agile and get the technical, and we call this technical foundation, is to get the technical structure laid out so that you at least have some experience of watching your rankings pop, and you will see that.
Because guys, remember this: when you build your first silo, it's a single silo. It's one silo landing keyword, and at a minimum of 3. You put them in the search engines. You get your site live. You write your content. You push it in, and then you track it, and you watch, and you see how all of a sudden it pops in the search engine. You're not coming in at like 900. You're coming in between 100 and 50. You always break in the top 100 most of the times, just because of the silo architecture. So you've got like a major opportunity. Like the rest of the people coming in here like 500, 600, blah, blah, blah. You're coming in at 100 to 50. You come in there. Then as you add more content, you watch this keyword start moving up. If you're in local, sometimes you come in straight in positions 1 to 5.
Yeah, it does happen, especially for mid and local. And so we'll keep up with you guys on that.
So this is why we say, sorry, I just want to say, this is very important. This is why we say get your first silo live as fast as possible, because that means you get into the traffic and the rankings faster.
Yeah.
Which means you can start transact.
Has everybody got a tracking tool for themselves? Are you using Kraken or are you using third party? How many of you are using a tracking tool? Give me a 1. Some people use AWR Cloud. Some people use, what is it, CertBook. There's different various ones. Okay. There's nothing wrong with, putting the stuff in that you're doing right now. You want to track it. Like, this stuff works, guys, and it'll help you tweak your content. And Matt's point here is just to get you guys kicked off and really start getting that content happening.
Yeah, I track from day one, even before my site's live. I get my analytics in, I push it live with analytics, and I watch things move as I'm writing. Yep. And as I'm building up my second story, I'm watching my first story, which is my first silo.
Yeah,
and that helps you gauge how much content you really need to write. If you write 2 or 3 articles and you're where you need to be, then essentially you've done your job.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then you guys will be ready for us to start talking about off-page factor, because what's happening here is you're building this pretty killer infrastructure with a conversation that's, guys, try not to write crap content or like put one paragraph on the page and think that's going to be helpful. Like, have a real conversation, take a little extra time. I personally prefer transcriptions. I also use voice to text if I'm writing something in my own industry. Some people will hire a decent writer. And then some of you, I don't recommend you use any of those curation tools. Like, I've got a lot of instant content creators, and some of them are not half bad. Like, some of them you can't even tell that they're written by a robot. But I would never put those on my money site. So those are things that you want to use carefully on other domains. They're pretty black hat, really. But don't use those on your money sites. You want the conversations to be pretty solid. You want them to have the feel of a human being. And you want to have, as we'll talk about next week, I think, is it Matt, painkiller article? Or
Yeah, that's
yeah,
week 5.
we're going to get into positioning. We're going to get into how to speak so that robots love you and humans love you even more. When it comes to robot human love, meaning getting them both to fall in love with you, there's a few tricks. And we're going to be showing you how to do that, because that really is the holy grail of how to annihilate your competition, like utterly, as if silo architecture was not enough. So we'll be showing you quite a bit about how to do that with what we call a painkiller article method. And we're also going to be talking, as you know, this is a perpetual mastermind group. So both week certification level 1 and certification level 2, which launches in 8 days. I recommend, if you are cert advisors, or like I know Marvin's a graduated certification advisor. He actually flew to the United States and hung out with us. If you're already a member, you should sign up for certification level 2. Starts next week on Wednesday. Be launching a lot more email about that, an email notification about that. We're actually adding stuff constantly to these courses. I have new juicy material for you on certification level 2 about positioning. I've been persuaded by a couple of team members to open up my secret arsenal of weapons on how to even move beyond the painkiller article method and into rapid positioning. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up a little bit on this training, and also we'll be covering that in certification level 2, which is kickstarting and increasing your traffic and conversion starting on Wednesday. So if you're already a member, do feel free to audit that again. We have new stuff coming in. In the meantime, what is our homework assignment this week then, Matt? Where should we be?
This week, we're going to finish up your drills. You're going to get the drills back, and then we're going to sit and start doing a proper consultation. So this is where the rubber meets the road, guys. You're going to sit with me. You're going to talk. We're going to look at your keywords. We're going to start speaking about your strategy. What are you going to target? What's your positioning? What keywords best suit that thing? You're then going to map, after our chat, you go into DWS, map out your single silo. That'll probably take you 15 minutes, and then bang, we're going to prepare the infrastructure, get the blog ready, import that in, and then you're going to sit and write your content. Then when we come back to week 5, Russell will speak about the writing, the persuasion layer. You can then take that information and look at what you've done and make adjustments and publish it live, get it going, get that site, get it first thing up. If you haven't got bank account details set up, you haven't got PayPal set up, you don't have the ability to get your buy now button done, this is the time you want to do it. This week is the time you get all those little things up and running. So that's essentially what we're working this week is your single silo, PayPal button, and then your first draft of your content.
Unannounced bonus. Just because I'm in the mood. Anybody interested in that?
Yes.
Okay. Not you. You don't get it.
Oh, that's not fair.
I really don't know why I feel like talking about this. I just feel like talking about this. How many of you guys are familiar with the hashtag method? You guys familiar with the hashtag method? Okay. Just something to be on your radar, because you'll hear us talk about it a lot in certification level 2 training and 3. Let's go ahead and this is we're kind of done for the day, guys. This is after class. This is like extra credit. So you guys can all go if you want. Go on now. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and change presenter. Oh my gosh, I'm listed as Sue Bell. That's embarrassing. I'll put it on my big screen TV here. Okay. So this is actually MediaWiki. You guys see that? So MediaWiki is one way to do it. There's also a plugin for blog. I guess part of the reason I'm talking this with you is because it helped one of my students the other day have this huge light bulb moment about why Matt sets the silo structure, like what silos are all about. Okay. So if you hit any of these URLs, like high engagement rank factors, You can see up here that it goes engagement rank was the original article. And then you've got this hashtag here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I know you can, Matt. So this is actually a unique URL. Do you see that? Okay. So let me just find another page. This is not a very good example. Like here's a word that's gotten fairly competitive, mostly because we made it competitive. In fact, somebody negative SEO'd this page. And we had to use traffichospital.com and methods and submit a disavow. And then it popped right back up. In fact, it popped up better than it was before. After the just an interesting note for you guys. After the disavow, it popped up past my old mentor, Bruce Clay. I have no idea why. It's almost as if the disavow made the site, any bad stuff I might have had going on before it was gone as well. And so then I outranked Bruce on that particular term.
Squeaky clean.
Yeah, squeaky clean, exactly. But if you look at website style architecture, again, after your third entry in MediaWiki, everything is a hashtag. Now, keep in mind that a hashtag is, you can use it on WordPress as well. There's a couple of different plugins. So what is SEO silo theming, right? So what I'm trying to express to you here is that each one of these is a hashtag, but keep in mind, when you click on that hashtag, it drops you down deeper in the page. So I'm not going to another URL. You see that? I'm just going down deeper into the page. And the kind of secret that you guys have earned that I want to make sure that you get is that this is essentially everything that Matt is teaching you. This is website silo architecture on page. So you've essentially siloed a single page. What that means is that if I'm targeting what is SEO silo theming, right? Oh, naughty boy. He got me. There ain't no shame being beaten by master, by the way, you guys. He's the best of the best. I'm proud to say that I learned a ton from him. Okay, so you can see that SEO website theming. What is see how it says jump to what is SEO website architecture right here? Okay, website style architecture. That page is ranking for this term, and look at this right on the search engine. You have the jump. You guys see that?
Yeah.
This is not small stuff. I'm going to ask you guys to read between the lines on this and just sleep on it for the next few weeks, because
Russ, if you can draw their attention to the URL at the bottom of your page, so they can actually see it when you hover over.
This one? Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you hover there.
Oh yes, thank you. Exactly.
Yes.
So here's the keyword chain.
There, guys.
Yeah, see down here below, I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of the screen. At the bottom of that page is website underscore silo underscore architecture pound. What is SEO website silo architecture, right? So SEO silo theming is the keyword. Okay, now if I take this off, let's go backwards on the shingles. I'm probably not ranked for SEO silo. Actually, I am. Check that out. See that? You guys see how I'm back now? If I could just go one more, I'd rank for SEO, wouldn't I? That's not going to happen. But not right. I am not focusing on that. That's where you got to really have a lot of offsite power. But if you go, if you look, just go forward in the shingles. I'm going to show you guys how important. Like, think about what Matt has done in this context. Oh, look, it's Becker. Seriously, right here. Okay. If you go SEO silo, and then you start doing other things, you will find that that particular, now these are all my sites. See, here my site comes up again. That's because I also have a hashtag. Oh, that one wasn't hashtagged. But if I go back to another page and look at that, see how there's no real hashtags? So this page is too short. You have to have 2 entries in order to, at least 2 entries to get a hashtag. But I could turn that into a hashtag. Yeah, and so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a hint, prepping you for what we're really talking about. Now, I have a couple of other plugins that you guys should be at least aware of. And I would ask you to not use these plugins on your WR1 Money site until you've gone through Matt's entire course and training and he's giving you the stamp of approval. But because I like to give you guys bonuses and tricks and hacks, I just want you to be aware of what's possible. And the main reason I'm giving you this now is because I was able to help people understand why Matt built DWS the way that it is by showing them how this plugin worked. Because when they understood, not the plugin, showing them how the hashtag works, when they understood that essentially Google is just looking for URLs, right? Primary benefits of website. Who do you think's ranked probably for benefits of website style architecture, right? Well, it's a hashtag, so it's going to be there. So that should probably be there. And this site isn't even really thought out that well, right? Look at that. You see what's going on here? I'm giving you guys the keys to the kingdom, by the way, and also trying to give you the method of the madness. Would there be anything stopping me from creating an entire page with just the TLKT or Kraken keywords and making them H3 headers and having hashtags for everything and putting, like, I don't know, a paragraph or two of content for every LSI term on a single page?
Yeah, and another term for hashtags is anchors. In web development, it's called an anchor. You essentially create an anchor on the page.
Yeah. And why is this, you guys? Why does this work? This works because this is a completely unique URL, or as Jimmy called it, a URI, on the engines. It's pointing to the same page. It's just a unique URI, and Google is hashtag friendly. All right. So there's other, like on Network Empire News, just not really a very well optimized site. It's just something we kind of threw together. But there's other things like when you have, I use a specific type of plugin. I think it's called Recent Post. And when you're doing it, let me go to see if Matt DeCruz Speaks has it. Yeah, more updates and posts from Matt DeCruz. Yeah. So really badly used at this point, but it actually is a hashtag creator. Yeah, of course that's going to bring his site right there. The thing is that I have tested this on some pretty difficult keywords, and with a little bit of organization and structure, you can actually use this on your individual page. Now, the reason I want you to be aware of it is, like, if it works marginally well on just individual pages, imagine how powerful it is when you're doing it with your entire site structure, which is the way that Matt is laying down for you. That makes sense, you guys? Kind of get where I'm coming from here? Give me a 1 if you guys understand what I'm trying to show you here. This is like a less powerful version of website style architecture.
It's a silo within a silo page.
Yeah. And you can actually do that. You can actually do that if you want to be seriously evil. Now, that's something that you want to do when you start getting up into really competitive terms. There's ways that you can use that. And just for those of you guys who keep asking me, I will give you the name of that plugin. It's free. Just be careful with it. Don't use it on this project. Just have it in your background arsenal. It's called Better Anchor. It's called Better Anchor. Sorry?
No, carry on.
Okay. It's called Better Anchor Links. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and give you guys that. It's pretty cool. And now it can be used wrong, so don't use it during this project, but just wanted to make sure you guys had some kind of trick, some kind of ninja trick behind the scenes.
Because, guys, by the time you finish this course, what we want you to leave with is the ability to essentially understand the market, understand how they use their language, understand the context of what goes in WR1, and then finally understanding what type of ninja tricks you need to use in what context on what part of the ring.
Yeah, and you're not ready to use that now, but I like to leave little things about what's coming. It's pretty important to see what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll probably wrap it up for today. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. And just sleep on it, think about it. Remember that we don't have a monopoly on good ideas. Okay? I would like to say that I do, but I don't. You guys are brilliant, and once we give you guys the basic tools on how this stuff works, you'll be able to start seeing how things really, really work. If I had actually taken the time to stack everything, all the LSI terms on this page, and go ahead and give them the hashtags, then probably you would see the traffic boost increase on this by 10-fold. Now, the silo structures that we've laid out for your homework assignment, things that we're doing, that's what happens by default. And Google is even more excited about full pages of content that are properly optimized. Okay? All right. I think we're good for today. And we'll go ahead and just end it there.
Last thing I want to say here, guys, is if you're not given your keywords yet and you're unsure, please hit me up on Skype. If you don't have my Skype, it's jbay-mdc. You'll find it on the front page of the tech course area. Get your keywords to me so we can start drilling those out for you, because I'd like to have them all finished this week so we can get focused more on the build end of this week and next week in preparation for Russell's talk on the persuasion layer. So keywords are important. I've got 4 of you guys keywords already. They're in the queue. They're being processed. So we want to just take it from there. That's about it, Russ.
Yeah, and we'll get you prepare yourself for next week. And next week is going to be less technical infrastructure and more about content. In other words, how can you create content, for these pages, and how should you position yourself, within these, or your client within these. And we're going to talk about the painkiller article method and how we can stack those ideas and concepts to be very, very attractive to your offer and to your positioning. Rod, I don't really understand that. Link on plugins goes to WordPress login page. On my site, Rod, can you leave me a private link on Skype? I'm not really sure what you're talking about. If it's theirs, then just do a search and do a little bit of looking. I'm giving you the name of it. Hang on, there's another question. I'm signed up for level 2 as well. Is it a bad idea to listen in on those next week? No, you can, Shane, you can go ahead and do parallel.
Shane, what we do in level 2 is level 2 is built on top of the onus of you go through Tech 1, you built your site is live. Now we're looking at how to expand on driving traffic and how to do deep analytics to understand what actually is going on. That's what we cover in level 2. So we go deeper into the conversations, we get deeper into how the traffic's working, and we get deeper into how to generate more traffic. It's more ninja tricks and all this kind of stuff. That's what we cover in level 2. So it will give you a bit of foresight of what you're working toward, if you can look at it from that perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Rod. I'm not really clear on where. Let me just find that. Let me see if I can give you that. Now I've created a. Let me see here. I'm just trying to find everybody that plugin. Tell you what I'll do, you guys, is I'll put the. Oh yeah, I gave you guys the wrong. It is part of the. Just look it up on the search engines. Jeez Louise, do I got to do everything for you guys? Just kidding. I was messing with you. Yeah, it's right here. I'll put it in there. I'm just messing with you, Rod. Okay. All right, you guys. That was kind of fun. And we will talk to you very, very soon. I so look forward to seeing all of you guys on certification level 2 and revealing more tips and tricks. We have a greatly enhanced version this upcoming event, at least on my side of things. Week 3 will be exceptionally powerful for you guys. And also next week for you guys here in this group is going to be exceptionally powerful as well. We'll look forward to seeing you on the inside. Matt, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.